Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, March 28th. I'm Richard, and this is another installment of Friday Coffee at Lap of the World headquarters. So yeah, welcome back, or possibly welcome to Friday Coffee at Lap of the World. In these videos, we will go through and add some context to the videos that you've already watched this week, stuff that hit the cutting room floor. Then we will answer your questions. We've been treating this as kind of a slow burn Q&A, so I'll be answering questions today that people put in the comments on last Friday's video, and if you'd like a question answered next Friday, please leave it in the comments down below, and I will dutifully read it and respond to it next week, assuming it doesn't deserve its own video, which is another possibility. And then we will provide a little bit of preview of what's coming up on the channel. But with that said, so hopefully you've already this week watched and enjoyed a couple of videos. One, we had our preview of some upcoming tracks, hopefully upcoming tracks in North America. There's 6 new tracks that are in some phase of development in our global region here. And that video has, if you are coming here as a new subscriber from that video, welcome and thank you for your viewership and subscription, because that video has blown up and has generated a lot of really cool discussions in the comments over there that I think are some of which may be worth their own videos. You know, potentially talking about the the pros and cons of the membership model of racetracks, which, you know, my immediate knee jerk with those is there's like, I think from the comments that I've read, there's a divide there, and I think it's good to understand that in that conversation of membership, good or bad, you have having a membership track and having access for John Doe and his Miata are not necessarily mutually exclusive situations. So you can have memberships that also have access to regular track day providers. I think G2 Motorsports is a great example of that. You can watch that video over here where we talk about it. You could spend a lot of money there. You can spend 6 figures of money to join the club there and buy a condo next to the track. Or you could have shown up earlier this month with Chin Track days for a few $100 and, and driven it at least and had access to some parts of the facility. So there's that. And then after that, you watched our a little bit of a short video, how-to for the NSX, where we changed the trunk struts. That was kind of one of these videos that I debated making it because it's such a simple task that I probably would take it for granted. But then I thought to myself, like, I screwed this up when I did it the first time, so I'm going to go ahead and make the video, because I originally put these stupid, Discount Dan's trunk struts on it that they don't have an offset. You watch the video and you'll know what I mean. But these have this like center line, mount hole on the top side. So every time they were going up and down, they're kind of being forced out of line, and being forced out of line like that, this would like pop off. It would fire the E-clip into orbit and drop the trunk on my head. But I was too cheap to replace them until they wore out. So, but anyway, that's done now. So you watch that video, and anyway, hopefully that saves somebody a headache. Anyway, moving on to answering your questions though. We had a couple from last week that we'll get to. The first one is, I'm going to shorten this up. It's actually a follow-up from a previous video where we talked about the dangers of car washes on the NSX. There's for the quick and dirty there's a engine bay vent on the back of the NSX, and if you spray a lot of hose water right into it, it ends up on top of the plug wells, and you can end up with a misfire from water getting down into the plug wells. But the question from that is, okay, let's say that happens. What do you then do to fix it? You've washed your car; it has a misfire. What do you do to fix it? Probably the most correct answer is you want to pull the coils, blow the plug wells out with compressed air, and or sop it up with some make yourself some paper towel rolls or whatever and stuff them down in there. Like, dry out as much as you can the plug wells, dry out the coil boots, spark plug boots that are on the coil packs, and then re-grease everything with dielectric grease, put it back together. If you have the time after you blow it out and dry everything out, let it sit for like overnight, just so everything, anything that's left in there can evaporate. and then put it all back together, and you will probably be good to go, assuming it hasn't caused any. Again, if they're new or have been otherwise kept pretty dry, it shouldn't have any issues with the coil packs. Old coil packs, it could push them over the edge. So, but anyway, if you put it back together, it probably will work fine. If it doesn't work fine, then go and ohm out your coil packs and see if one of them is gone at that point. But so that's the quick and dirty there. Probably not worth its own video, but definitely worth considering. The second question then is a little bit more. There's a little more meat on the bone here. And that is, if there was one track-related skill that I wish I had focused on more in my early driving career, what would that be? I think there are probably two pieces to that puzzle, things that I regret not doing or not doing enough of. One would be probably drift and rallycross drifting, some kind of car skidding activity. I was not a hooligan as a kid. I know this is going to come as no surprise to anybody who knows me. I was pretty straight-laced. I did not have a rebellious streak, so I was not out like honing my car very much. I did autocross, and I developed a lot of car control and learned how to recover a skid very effectively from that, because I had an MR2 turbo, so you had to have fast hands to not end up backwards once you got a little bit out of shape in that car. But I never went and did any. Drifting schools or any rally or rallycross stuff to kind of develop that beyond the limit of adhesion car control. And I feel like I miss that nowadays. Like, even for your all's purposes, like, it would be cool to go out and find a closed, on a closed track or a track that we're renting or something, and have a lurid drift in the NSX around a turn or something like that for the camera. And I couldn't do that right now on purpose. I'll just own that. Like, mechanically, I think I know how, and I think I could probably do it with enough practice, but enough practice hasn't happened already. So I just kind of own that as a gap in my skill set. The other thing would be just more advanced driver coaching. Like, I feel like and generally, most of the people that have watched my videos, especially like recent videos, not when I was early on, I came up through the NASA HPDE ladder, and those if you dig back far enough on the channel, you can find me in an MR2 turbo, going probably slower than I would now around several different tracks. But I feel like I got to a point after we went through the NASA ladder, I was on the podium for several time trial events in the NSX, an underprepared NSX. So I feel like I reached some point, or I have reached some level of competency. I'm what I would call, I'm not slow, but I have ridden with enough professional drivers to know that I'm also not fast. Like, there's a massive gulf between even the experienced amateur and what an actual professional, whose one job it is or was at some point in time, was to go fast in a car around the track and maximize the performance of a car, especially a car that was not theirs. They didn't have to drive it home. Eventually, like, you get far enough in your career. Like, I've ridden with enough of those people that I know what I don't know. I would like to close that gap some. I'm already 40. The F1 scouts are already not returning my calls at this point. But I would like to close that gap some and probably be more of a more competent amateur than I am. So I don't know if I go and do that, if I go and pursue anything like that, I will take you guys along for the ride, because I think either of those things are somewhat still on the table. I think I would just need to probably I would need to make some life choices about what I have sitting around the garage, because right now, like, the Datsun over there, that could easily be a bargain basement 350Z or something. Just staying in the Nissan family there for a second, with a cage in it that I could both drift and do a racing school in or whatever else. And if I blew it up, I don't care. If I put it in a wall, I don't care as much, versus the NSX. Kind of a stunt car, if you will. Likewise, I could pay for a lot of advanced driver training and private coaching if there wasn't a Lamborghini in the other garage bay out there. Because yeah, I'm not at the point right now where the channel is not going to foot the bill for a a 5 to 10 grand skip barber or private coaching tutelage tutelage course or whatever there. So but yeah, it's like on my radar. But that's the two things then would be drift / rally. I'll kind of bucket those under the same thing, although I know they're different. And then they both involve handling a car once you've gone past the normal grip adhesion level, and then also just more advanced driver coaching. I think I probably could have had the chance my opportunities there were probably as I graduated HPDE 3 and was going into time trials back in the day with NASA. That's probably the point where I could have leaned into that. And I might have at the time, but with the rule change and kind of deciding to pursue a different angle of my enjoyment of track day stuff, there was less of an incentive for me to spend a whole lot of money to get a little bit faster. So anyway, that was the answer. There's your questions from last week answered. Hopefully those were I don't know, whatever, relatable maybe. But moving on then to some previews, we will have a little bit more racetrack, about racetracks related stuff coming up this Sunday. That should be probably the next thing that you're going to watch. And then after that, we'll have a little bit more we're going to do in the trunk of the NSX, which is what I was doing before the trunk lid dropped on my head, and I then had to do a side quest real quick to alleviate my frustration before I moved on to that. But that's teasing that a little bit is what I have on the table back here, which is some thoroughly abused wiring connectors. But so that will be next Wednesday, and then we will be back next Friday, where, again, I will answer any questions that you leave in the comments from this video. So, with that said, we will leave it there. Hope you get to enjoy the rest of your day. I enjoyed the coffee break this morning. But until then, I'm Richard. This is Lap of the World, and we'll see you all in the next video, if not the track.